company. Why?
You don't understand.
Why should you want me to understand? Let me understand that. Let me understand. Because the fire service is just here. The fire service is just here. We don't want the truth. We don't want the truth. We need to get out. We need to get out. You pay tax. You pay tax. I pay tax.
Tonight, outrage by traders at Mokala Market as they confront fire service officials who showed up at the scene of a major fire with a fire tender lacking water. We'll hear from the fire service as they blame the Ghana Water Company for their inability to find water to put out the fire in time.
It's true, but unfortunately, all the hydrant that we have in the central business district does not have the pressure required for firefighting.
We take you live to Mokala, where the raging inferno is now under control, but with devastated traders. And Top Story is always brought to you by Gas and Cement. The Nation Builder is also brought to you by Vodafone. Together we can. There is outrage tonight among traders at the Mokala Market, many of whom have lost everything to a major fire that swept through the market this morning. Now, their anger is directed at the fire service, the Mokala Market, because of its history with fires as a dedicated fire station. Joy News is tonight learning that the fire tender for that station has been faulty for some time and out of service. Now, other tenders that arrived at the scene of the inferno also lacked water, as fire hydrants lacked enough pressure to pump the water. We'll be speaking shortly with the spokesperson for the Ghana Fire Service, Mr. Ellis, who joins us on the telephone line right now. Ellis, thank you for your time. You're on Top Story. Hello, Ellis.
Hello.
Thank you for your time. You're on Top Story.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
No, I can't hear you clearly.
Okay, let's try and see if we could get his attention. But traders there have been outraged by what has been happening, and there's been a confrontation between some of them and some of the fire service officials.
Why the minister's house is not burning? What are you telling me? What nobody should talk? What are you telling me? Take your time.
Can you relax and speak to us? So exactly what is your problem now?
And this is a really agitated gentleman who is fuming at the delay.
Please. We all understand. Yeah, we all understand. But they are working. And when you are doing like this,
the Ghana National Fire Service, what it is there?
Why the Ghana Fire Service will always tell you that there's no water in their company? Why?
You don't understand.
Why should you want me to understand? Let me understand that. Let me understand. Because the fire service is just here. The fire service is just here. We don't want the truth. We don't want the truth. We need to get out. We need to get out. You pay tax. You pay tax. I pay tax. I pay tax. I pay tax.
And so on and so forth, to be able to deal with the fire. And what I see now is that the traders are cheering him on because for them he's expressing their sentiment.
Well, some of the traders who lost everything in the fire have also been speaking about the extent of the inferno and their own views of how this was handled.
They should come to our aid. Our things are burning. It's burning. No, they should come. The fire service are not doing anything before the thing gets out of hand. It started from the outside before it's going inside. They are not doing anything. They are just saying they don't have water. The whole fire service, they don't have water to quench the light. It has got out of hand. It's inside now. They should come and help us. We are dying. Our things are burning.
Well, we see them now fighting the flames, and that's some good news for you.
It has got out of hand before they come here because it is started from the outside before it gets inside.
Your own staff in there.
It started from here, the first building here before they go outside, before the thing gets inside.
But I'm seeing that it has affected your shop.
It affected everything.
How much worth of goods is in the shop?
Sure, more than billions upon billions.
Billions of CDs.
Our things are spoiled.
What do you sell? What do you sell?
Cosmetics. We sell cosmetics. The things are all burning.
Starting when you somebody know. And the fire service for them come see show near the enemy. And I start to focus so. And to mo do many mo hand right inside the one more. And I am inside the cosmetics style one you know. This is a fear shop.
And just to explain to you, she said the fire started from the front, and just like I described to you, the typical Makola buildings have billboards, signposts, and signages right in front. front of them for the purposes of advertisement. And just like you're seeing, these are typical Makola buildings. And
Yes, so shemo.
then I'm on.
You told Liz.
Lace. And to money lace, no.
And Liz in Kwa.
And a jano a shinina.
I first had me back. Mrs. Eddie can't honor me who know.
This is the kind of shop on a wheel.
Shop on a me who know not Frebby.
I'm not fair about how many man of Ekiko saying?
Hey, I don't so none of your dinner may frequent sobriety.
I want to take you live now to the scene of the fire where we still have the spokesperson for the Ghana Water Company with us. Hello, Alice. Hello, Alice. Hello, Alice.
Hello.
Hi, can you hear me, Alice?
Hello.
Yes.
I'm still on the line.
Okay, Alice, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
What's the situation with the fire as we speak? Have you managed to put it under control? To bring it under control?
Hello, this is Stanley.
Okay, so Stanley, stay with me. Stanley, by the way, is the is the head of the directorate of the communications at the Ghana Water Company. We'll speak to him shortly on the situation. But I have Alice with me from the fire service. Hello, Alice. Hello, Alice. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. What's the situation with the fire right now?
Yes, as I speak to you now, we have been able to bring the fire under control. But there are little pockets of fire within the building that we need to totally extinguish before we leave here.
So you're there with your fire tenders and all. I mean, in terms of bringing this under control, largely done, as you say. Any more help that you require in terms of the tenders to completely put this under control? Hello, Alice. Can you hear me?
The line is not clear, please.
Okay. Is it better?
The line is not clear.
Is it better?
There are lots of noise at the background, so it's not clear at all.
Okay, but can you hear me at all? Let's try and fix that. By the way, he earlier spoke to our correspondent on the ground there, and it gives us a sense of the main challenge, as you heard the traders explain their dissatisfaction with the way the fire service has handled this. Listen to the spokesperson for the Ghana Fire Service explain the challenge they have and why there was a delay initially with their response, but also with the issue with accessing water.
Yes, we had a distress call around 9:10 in the morning, and we have been able to use about 9 of our tenders and 1 from the armed forces to be able to bring this fire under control.
So currently, the confirmation is that it's under control?
Yes, it's under control. But you and I know that we have to attack the small fires in the various containers and shops around before we leave finally.
Okay, what do we know as the immediate cause, at least per your preliminary assessment?
We cannot establish any now, but then we have been informed that almost every shop here has a generator, and some eyewitnesses around are saying that it started from a generator. But then we don't want to rely on that to do our investigations to establish the cause of the fire.
Do we have a confirmation of any casualty this afternoon?
So far, we don't have any casualties.
Now, they talked about the pressure in the hydrants here. We've learned that most of the hydrants within the Central Business District are low on water. Well, this particular area is not new to raging fires.
It is true, but unfortunately, all the hydrants that we have in the Central Business District does not have the pressure required for firefighting. So we have to rely on Circle and other adjoining communities, and it's quite far from here. So that is one challenge that we are having.
But how is it that all the hydrants that we have are not up to the level to deal with fires?
It's very difficult for me to talk about. You and I know that we paid 1% of our water bill goes to water company. So maybe if water company officials are here, they can answer that for you.
Talk to us about the equipment that you've used this afternoon to fight the fire. We saw one 10-table ladder being deployed this afternoon. It seemed to be very efficient, in fact, more efficient than the other tenders that you use? Is it just one that you have? Why didn't we deploy more than just one?
We have about 2 in the system. We have 2 in the system.
When you say 2 in the system, exactly what do you mean?
One is in Accra, one is in Tema. Okay. Yes. That is why we use the one in Accra.
So we have just 2 turntable ladders for fighting fire in the country.
Yes. Quite recently, we have information that some are coming. Yeah, so we are waiting for them.
As it stands now, is the situation distressing? So that, I mean, if you had more equipment, you would have been able to deal with the fire better.
As you can see, we have about 9 tenders here. The main challenge we are having is how to access the building. But now we have been able to do that. If you look up there, you can see some of the firemen attacking the fire from the seat of the fire. So we are on course.
But I mean, it appears that they would have been better served if some of the shops were actually open. Because from up top, the building sort of looks like it's caved in with the ceiling.
It is true that if the shops were open, it would have been easy for us. But you and I know, it's not everybody who stands here who is a good person. There are bad people around. And if you allow that, there will be looting and probably chaos here. Yes, that's why we are managing it in that way.
I'll take you shortly to the Mokola, the scene of this fire. My colleague Maxwell will join me as we begin to learn a bit more about what may have caused this fire. We're also going to be speaking to my other colleague, Manuel, who had been there in the early hours of today when this fire started, because we're also beginning to learn a bit more about the fire tenders that responded to this. Stay with me as we cover this from all angles. But after you just heard there, the spokesperson for the Ghana Fire Service indicate they are a challenge with accessing water to deal with this fire today. He says we should ask the question of the Ghana Water Company. He talks about the lack of pressure and that we pay 1% to the Ghana Water Company so they can make sure that the hydrants are in good condition with the right pressure to supply them with water. We can bring in Stanley Mate, who, of course, joins us on the line right now. Hello, Mr. Mate. Mr. Mate speaks for the Ghana Water Company. I'm grateful that you could join us on Top Story.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Evans.
So as we heard that from the fire service, how come we have fire hydrants at a location like Mokola, known for its fires, that are not in good condition to service a tender in case of an emergency?
Yeah, Evans, thanks very much. I think apart from the Mokola area, there are other hydrants within the metropolis. So that if you do not have enough water in Mokola, they could fall on other hydrants close by. The challenge is that we don't have enough water in Accra. Okay, there's a gap between demand and supply, and Mokola lies at the center of our distribution mains. Okay, and if you look at the population around that area, you could tell that by the time water gets to within the Mokola area, pressures may have reduced. And so they have known for a very long time that the pressures are not that high within the Mokola enclave. So the only thing is to rely on the other ones close by that have enough water and they could use. For me, I don't think that water was their challenge. They said that they couldn't have access to the buildings because they have 9 tenders. They were all filled with water, but they didn't have access to the buildings. And I think that is the main challenge and not water.
But you admit the hydrants there lack the pressure. The question is, we know this. This is Ghana Water Company I'm speaking to. So you need to answer that question. Why haven't you fixed the problem with the pressure?
The problem is lack of adequate water for the entire city of Accra. Okay, we have 2 sources that supply the city of Accra with water, one from Kpong and one from Weja. But the total volumes of water produced by the 3 treatment plants that supply the entire metropolis is not enough for the population of Accra. Okay, by virtue of the fact that we do not have enough water, we are unable, we do not have very high pressures within the Mokola area. You understand? Mokola is almost at the far end of our distribution mains from Weja. So obviously we wouldn't have high pressures. And what I'm saying is that the fire service are aware that the pressures within that area is not that high because the water in the system is not enough. Okay? There's a gap of close to 50 million gallons of water daily. Okay, so then it becomes very difficult for us to just push water into Mokala because we're expecting water. We're expecting fire. No, nobody's expecting fire at any time. We only get ourselves in readiness if it should happen. Okay, but what I'm saying is that there are other hydrants close by because almost every kilometer within the metropolis there's a fire hydrant. So there are other hydrants close by where we have enough water and high pressures. So the only thing for the fire service people to rely on the ones close by, and that was exactly what they did. Okay, but the main challenge was that they couldn't have access to the buildings that were on fire. And that is the main challenge.
From the Ghana Water Company's point of view, these hydrants are Mokola and the pressure that is in them, there's nothing you can do about it.
No, there's something that we can do about it. It means you have to push more water. You understand? But the thing is, the more you push, the more the water is being consumed because the population there is also very high. And nobody expected fire at the time. Okay? But the thing is, there is water close by apart from the hydrants. And even if the hydrants in Mokola were functioning, all tenders could not be filled at the same time.
Yeah, so they'll give my phone.
One is filling at another point. And there were 9 tenders had water. So that is not the real challenge. That is not the main challenge. The main challenge is access to the building on fire. Because all the tenders had water, and at any point in time, they had water. The military came in and they had water. You understand? So the main problem can't be the lack of high pressures within the Mokola.
So just for, because again, this is Mokola. This is not the first time we've had fire there. This is the latest one. I mean, and God forbid, it's very possible, the nature of the place, that in the future we might have another. They talking solutions. What is the Ghana Water Company going to do about, because we have a fire station there that will need immediate supply of water, because movement from Mokola to go to other areas you refer to for supply only delays the time you require to respond to such an emergency. Going forward, what is Ghana Water Company going to do about that particular problem?
All fire stations have fire hydrants there. And our expectation is that all fire tenders will be combat ready. Okay? Because we may not know when there will be fire. So they always have to be combat ready. Such that the moment they are called, they move. You don't move to go and look for water before you go quench fire. You understand? So we expect that since they have hydrants within their offices, they should always be combat ready.
But
the hydrant in your premises is not functioning effectively, then get the tenders filled from the nearest place and be combat ready.
Let's talk about what, because the fire service will deal with their issues shortly. But let's talk about Ghana Water. I'm asking you a specific question. The pressure is yours to fix. In the future, there may possibly be another incident that needs response. If you have the tenders there, it helps to deal with it in a timely manner. Is Ghana Water Company going to do something about it, at least for the possibility that this may happen again?
Evans, I think we need a better appreciation of the way our operations are. Okay, the hydrants are mounted on our pipelines. Okay, so we always produce water on a daily basis. We push into the system for consumers within the Greater Accra metropolis. It's not like we have a reservoir where every time we have to go and put in water and just wait for fires to occur. It's not so. They flow through the pipeline. So whilst we are consuming, we also use the water for other purposes, including firefighting. Okay. Now, in the entire Greater Accra, there's a gap between demand and supply. Now, people require water to consume. We can't deprive them of water because we always have to be ready in case of fire. So we are producing water on a daily basis. We are putting in pressure at all times. But at a particular time when the pressure in one locality is not that high, resort to the nearest hydrant that has high pressure. You understand? So please, you need to understand and appreciate our patient. Okay.
Thank you, Stanley. I think that the picture there is pretty clear. Make of that what you will. But let me bring in Manuel, who was there in the morning. Manuel, so they had to find water at some point. What do we know about how they managed to find water eventually?
So Ellis Oko Robinson tells me that they had to move the fire tenders that they had all the way to Kwame Nkrumah Circle, some to Alajo, to be able to refill. And each fire tender contains about 3,000 liters of water. And it takes about 8 minutes to discharge all 3,000 liters. And so they go the distance to go fill the tender. And then when they come back, spend just up to 8 minutes to discharge all of it.
And they have to go back.
They have to go back.
Yeah.
And so while I was on the ground, I could count up to 10 tenders which had their contents discharged in an attempt to douse the flames.
Let's go live now to Mokola. Maxwell, so right now we are also learning that the challenge with the water is not the only problem. The Mokola dedicated fire station, which was put there precisely because of this challenge, has a faulty fire tender that has been faulty for a while. Hello, Maxwell. We don't seem to have Maxwell. Hello, Maxwell.
Hello?
Yeah, Maxwell. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hello.
Can you hear me, Maxwell?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm talking about, we are learning tonight a bit more about the situation with the tender, the fire tender at the Mokola Fire Service Station, that it hasn't been functional for a while. What more are we learning about that?
Well, exactly, Evans. That is according to the Public Relations Officer of the Ghana National Fire Service. When I spoke to him earlier, he told me that the fire engine at that particular station, the station here at the Central Business District, has broken down for some time now. So what happened was that when they got an indication of the fire officers there at the CBD station rushed to this place with fire extinguishers, trying to extinguish the fire. But when they were not successful, then they called their colleagues to the ministry station to come here to come and help them fight the flames. But I don't know if you can hear in the background what we are experiencing here right now is a resurgence of the fire, and we're having some sort of mini explosion. Within the past 3 hours, the Ghana National Fire Service had the situation under control. Now, it looks like the fire is burning very fast because it just got into a cosmetic shop where we're told they sell perfumes and then spray. So what is happening now is mini explosions that is causing many bystanders here running for their lives. Some minutes ago, we had firefighters standing on a turntable ladder fighting the fire right from the source. Now, this whole place has been engulfed in cloud again. The firefighters on the turntable ladders are unable to fight the fire directly from the source because of the mini explosions that we are experiencing here currently. We are told that it's quite dangerous, so some of the personnel in here are trying to move the bystanders very close to the burning structure to a very safe place. As it stands now, the firefighters are getting ready again to use the turntable ladder to fight this fire, which is coming directly from the cosmetic shop.
So, but do we have any fire service official with you to get a clear understanding of how they plan to deal with this latest eruption?
Exactly. I have the Public Relations Officer of the Ghana National Fire Service, Ellis Robinson, here with me. Let me find out from him. Ellis, we had a situation under control. Now we're seeing a resurgence of the fire. Tell us, what is happening? What is happening now?
Yes, I said from the beginning that the different combustible materials that we have in the fire are reacting to the fire in different ways. So you realize that canisters of mosquito spray and other stuff will explode at a certain point in time. That's what we are seeing. But our men are ready to make sure that we douse the fire before we leave it.
Okay. So the indication that when we got on the ground was that the first water tender that arrived on the ground did not have water. That's what we heard.
It's not true. It's not true.
Okay. What was the situation? We were told that the fire engine at the Central Business Station has broken down.
Yes, it has broken down. That is why we call the immediate fire station around to attend to the fire.
But you would agree with me that for an area very critical like the Central Business District, where you have a lot of businesses here, there should be at least, 2 fire engines here.
I agree with you, but that is the situation on the ground. I agree with you that there should have been 2, but that's what we have.
So would you agree with the traders here that, but for that, this fire would have been controlled and wouldn't have a situation like this?
I disagree, because the first tender that came here came in time. If they had called us around that 6:30 that the fire started, we would have been able to douse it before it gets to this stage. When we came, we interviewed some people and they said the fire started at 6:30. Meanwhile, we came here at 9:10. Look at the difference in time. So we cannot be blamed. We have only come into assist.
But another thing that aggravated the situation is the fire hydrants here. As the Ghana National Fire Service, they expected that you conduct regular audits of the fire hydrants and know the ones which you can use in cases of emergency.
We have a system like that, where we have some designated fire hydrants that we can rely on, like GRA, Circle, Parisco, Kanichi Tongo Junction, amongst others. But unfortunately, around this time, you agree with me that the water that we drink is the same water that we used to do firefighting. So if the human beings are not getting water to drink, then how can we get water to do firefighting? So just behind me, there's a hydrant just here. But the pressure is so low that we can't depend on it. So we have to travel to Circle and adjoining communities to get water to do the firefighting.
So whose job is it to ensure that the fire hydrants are working properly for you?
You and I pay 1% of our water bill to take care of the hydrant. So it's the duty of water company.
So the Ghana National Fire Service is not expected to also ensure that the Ghana Water Company sees to it that the hydrants are working properly and the pressure is good for you?
We work hand in hand, but we are not responsible for the hydrant.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes, we work with water company, but we are not in charge of the hydrant.
Yeah,
the water company gets the hydrant ready for us to use the water for firefighting.
Maxwell,
the member of parliament for the radio, and he points to illegal connections in many of our markets, and he talked about illegal connections even here in the Central Business District. What is the Ghana National Fire Service doing? Because I know that previously these issues came up. A commission was, put in place to investigate market fires. They said illegal connections are part of the problem. What is the Ghana Fire Service doing about this situation?
We have to notify electricity company of Ghana to handle that aspect. That's their work.
Yes, Mr. It is their work. But when there's fire, it is the Ghana National Fire Service that is called. And if you do not control the fire, the backlash comes back to you. So you're also expected to ensure that they do their job.
For illegal connections, you don't know how they come about. I may see a place that there's an illegal connection, but if they come, maybe it's not even an illegal connection. They are the experts. They have machines to detect illegal connections. So they are the best people to come here, identify the illegal connections, and handle them.
But what about collaborating with them and letting them know how dangerous it is for these illegal connections to be here in the market? Letting them know that they need to disconnect them to ensure that you do not have fire incidents like what we're experiencing right now. Collaborating with them.
Yes. All these things will be captured in our recommendation. Yes. So the city authorities will ensure that we get that collaboration to ensure that the next time we bring this building back, it will be safe for people to occupy.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
So,
Maxwell, are you there? I mean, we need to find out from him. The fire tender at Mokola that has broken down, how long has it been broken down, and why haven't they fixed it for such a critical area known for fire?
Okay. Mr. Okon, we want to find out how many days this fire engine has been broken down. You don't have, okay, well, Evans says he does not have any indication of when this fire engine, this water tender that we are talking about became faulty. He is unable to tell, Evans.
But as you reported a short while ago, the fires seem to have re-erupted. Is there an indication now that the fire officers are bringing it under control?
Exactly, Evans. It's still now they have some level of control over the explosion that we experienced just some minutes ago. What they are trying to do is to use a turntable ladder to get to the source of the fire to fight it, and that's what I see them doing. At the point where it became very dangerous for them, they had to lower the turntable ladder and then stand and then watch a little bit to re-strategize. They re-strategize, and then now they seem to have some level of control over the situation. But as it stands now, on a normal day, you'll find the traders here closing their shops and then walking to the various bus terminals to go home. That is not happening today. All of them are still here with their heads up in the sky, fixed on this structure, watching with bated breath as these firefighters try to douse the flame. Now, the concern here for many of them is that if they leave, the situation could degenerate. Although they do not have any level of control, they think that being here would help the firefighters, control the place. A lot of them are raising concerns that, they have adjoining structures very close to the main building that has been shattered by the fire. And they think that if the situation is not properly controlled, the fire could move it into the other structures. Some minutes ago, when I walked behind the main structure that has been, shattered by the fire, you could see visible marks in the building. Cracks have started appearing in the building itself. The roofing of the structure has been completely ripped off and destroyed. Now we can see visible cracks, in the building itself. Some of the experts who have been talking to here told me that after the job is done this evening, there would have to be an assessment of the structural integrity. If they have to put the entire structure down, then they would have to go that way to put the entire structure down, because they feel that structural integrity has been, compromised a bit.
Maxwell, thank you very much. We're going to keep an eye on this developing story at the Mokola market. It seemed to have been under control a short while ago, but then, as we've just heard there have been some re-eruptions that require further attention. Still ahead here on News 9.
Tonight, Immigration Service opens internal investigation into a Joy News expose revealing some immigration officers demand as little as 5 cedis to allow illegal entry into the country through unapproved routes at their flower border.
So I think this should have been enough motivation for any officer to refuse to take, how much did you say, 5 cedis, 10 cedis, and rather apprehend such people and bring them to your commanders. So definitely when this video should get to management, the appropriate action will be taken.
We have details from that Joy News expose. Also, minority in parliament disputes government's account of the outbreak of the deadly Delta variant of COVID-19 in the country.
The Delta variant of SARS-CoV-2 has been within several Ghanaian communities across multiple regions for quite a couple of months, and instead of government sounding the alarm bells, government has at all times denied the existence of the virulent Delta variant of the virus.
We hear about the need for urgent enforcement of protocols as experts say the situation may be worse than the data suggests.
We are likely only seeing a tip of the iceberg. We have to revert back to what we were doing in January and February. We have to revert back to that level of alert.
Also later, NDC youth ready to hit the streets tomorrow after green light from the police to go ahead with the March for Justice demonstration.
Stray bullets do not know anyone. It happened in Bandan Kwanta, it happened in Mansfield, it happened in Edra. The question we should ask ourselves is who is next? Anybody. So the earlier we all spoke out and told this government that enough is enough, the better for all of us.
And in business, the Makola fire outbreak again highlights low level of insurance patronage among traders, but Guta has some solutions in dealing with this problem.
And later in sports, the Black Stars must earn the love and support of Ghanaians. That's a call from skipper Andre Dediayu.
And later, 2 dead, several injured in separate incidents in the Ashanti region, leaving some communities in fear. And then our quest to separate and save conjoined twins received major boost as the presidency steps in with promise to pay for their surgery.
It is my pleasure to announce that the president has said all related costs, all the costs of this exercise, the state is willing to take over and is ready to take over the cost.
We have that and more in tonight's edition of Newsnight. Please join us with your thoughts and comment via WhatsApp 05511119997. You're watching live on Facebook. You can leave your comment there as well. I am MFA Pau.
And my name is Evans Mensah. We start with the Ghana Immigration Service, where they've launched an internal inquiry to report some of its officers are demanding monies to aid illegal entry into the country. A Joy News investigation, which uncovered the rot, filmed the officers asking for money from foreigners and locals to allow them entry into Ghana through the Aflao, even though the country's borders are officially closed due to the COVID outbreak. Now, Joy News' Kwete Nate reports that his team was never subjected to the regular checks when entering the country through an unapproved route. Now, here's his report read to you.
As part of government's effort to limit the